Hi, my name is Jeff Morgan. I am from Dallas, Texas. This is Monday, November the 27th. And I'd like to just give a quick update regarding the invitation to the December 6th meeting with the Attorney General Ken Paxton. So as some of you know, I put out a video yesterday, and in that video I mentioned 12 questions that I would like to ask the Attorney General Ken Paxton when we meet with him on Wednesday, December the 6th. Questions that I thought were very legitimate questions. I got a lot of very positive feedback from many people. Many people were delighted to say, finally, we're going to talk about these issues. Now, I'm not sure that we're going to talk about the issues, but I just said I wanted to put them out there. So today, I did receive an email back from the Attorney General's office. And it states this. It says, "Good morning, Jeff. It has come to our attention that the below invitation has been posted on the internet with an accompanying video and a suggestion that anyone may come to the planned meeting, including media. Please understand that this is not a general public invitation. In order to facilitate candid and constructive conversation, it must be limited to the members of those organizations which you and Brandon Johnson lead." And that would be FFER, AFPE/PFPE, and I'm not even sure what these organizations are because I really don't lead an organization. I think one is Americans for Parental Equality, AFPE. I don't know what the other two are, but anyway, maybe PFPE. I don't know, something about. I have no idea what they are. And those individuals who have already expressed a personal concern regarding these issues by previously contacting Michelle Smith. Accordingly, we request that you take down the internet posting and video. We do not object to and expect forwarding and circulation of the email invitation to your organizational membership. But please remember to point out that an RSVP by December the 4th is necessary to attend. General Paxton is looking forward to the opportunity to have this conversation with you and other parents about these issues and concerns. Thanks, Andrew Leonie. And Andrew Leonie is the Associate Deputy Attorney General for Attorney General Ken Paxton. So that came today at 10:21 a.m. During my lunch, I responded back to this email. I didn't get to read the whole thing. I was at work, and I only got to read a few pieces of it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I just said, "Hi, Andrew. Thank you for the email. I do understand that the meeting is not a public meeting. I didn't mean to give the impression otherwise, but I can see how that was conveyed, so I will seek to clarify any misunderstanding I have created." So for those who got that impression, I do apologize. That was not my intent to make it sound like this was open to the media and anybody else. It was designed for individuals who have issues with the child support issues in the state of Texas. To continue on with my email response, I was being contacted by a lot, LOTE in all caps, a lot of people, many with similar questions, so I created an event on Facebook to try to use that as a medium for communication instead of answering each person individually. And some of the people that have contacted me that I've responded back to was glad to do so, but I couldn't do that with everybody. Besides family responsibilities, I have work responsibilities, I have a number of responsibilities, and I just don't have the time, as I've mentioned to many people, to answer each person individually. So I continued on from there. By the way, I am merely an advocate for people whose stories I have heard. I am not a leader of any such group, nor am I personally affected by the issue. My involvement with a lot of this stuff occurred because of what CPS, Children's Protective Services, did to ruin my relationship with my grandchildren. Had Children's Protective Services, CPS, shown a morsel, and I'm saying a morsel of accountability and integrity, I doubt that I would have gotten involved in this issue to the degree that I have. To me, I look at all of these issues as being interrelated. These are state agencies or individuals who represent the state who are implementing policies which are destructive to families. My issue has to do with a couple of other issues. I've never had to go through the child support issue. I don't know anything about it from firsthand experience, but I have heard the stories, and the stories are both heartbreaking and horrifying and completely unjust in many instances. And yet we brag about how much money we collect in child support in the state of Texas. I continued, I am grateful that Attorney General Paxton is willing to address the issue with those affected. I have heard a number of people tell me their heart-wrenching stories. Each one seems worse than the previous one. Yet the fear that they will be stepping into a roundup or sting operation is just as great, if not greater, than what I witnessed when I was a missionary living among Iraqi refugees in Jordan. I would dismiss the fear as being irrational, but I saw what happened first-handed with Iraqis. I saved the life of one Iraqi Muslim convert friend by addressing the issue with the head of the United Nations in Jordan. I put out a few emails to supporters, and the pressure started coming in from 3 continents, and that was the United States, from Europe, and from Australia, and even from the Bush White House. The Bush White House had a very strong interest in finding out what would happen to my friend, the Muslim convert, who was in the land of Jordan, who was being threatened to be returned back to Iraq so that he could be killed by Saddam's henchmen. As a result of this pressure, he was given free passage to South Africa, where he attended Bible college, and he now lives in Sweden and is an effective evangelist to Muslims in that country. As a Christian, I think I have a biblical obligation to speak up on behalf of those that have no voice. And if you are affected by this issue of child support and arrearages and concerned that you may be thrown into jail, or that you may have your driver's license not renewed or your auto registration not renewed, you can understand that you may feel like you have no voice. And the people that I've talked with that have told me that their stomachs are in constant knots over this whole issue, I understand what they're talking about to some degree. And I think that, yes, they have no voice. In my instance, I'm not affected by the issue. I can speak out freely on it, and that's what I'm doing. The people that the Attorney General needs to hear from are those who live in fear and whose lives and relationships with their children are being destroyed by a well-intentioned but perhaps a bit misguided policy. It is not good public policy to lead the nation in child support collection when the end result is destroyed families. So what should I tell the people that are asking me about a safe harbor guarantee? Because as I've mentioned, many of these people are afraid. I owe child support. If I go in there, are they going to arrest me? Is it a roundup? And I have had people tell me of other events in other states in which just such a similar thing happened, where something was being offered to the people and really what it was a roundup in that state. If this can be arranged, I will let them know. Thank you for your email and for your help in this matter. Yours truly, Jeffrey S. Morgan. About an hour and a half later, I received a response from Andrew Leonie from the Attorney General's office. Jeff, the response to your request regarding a safe harbor is mixed. First of all, please know that this event is not a roundup of child support obligors who are behind in their child support payments. Second, there will not be anyone from the Child Support Division checking who is there for any enforcement purposes. Third, that said, as I indicated when we spoke, even though this event is not to seek arrests of any person, because DPS does not want to report to the Attorney General, if there is a warrant out for someone's arrest, it cannot be set aside. Once again, if there is a warrant out for someone's arrest, it cannot be set aside. So, even though the event is not a roundup of child support obligors, nor will anyone from the Child Support Division be checking who was there for enforcement purposes, if there is an outstanding warrant for someone's arrest, it cannot be set aside. And for those people who don't know if there is a warrant out for their arrest, if there is a warrant out and you don't know about it, that cannot be set aside either. So, this is what we are talking about, is in having a full and frank discussion. It seems like the people that the Attorney General needs to hear from the most are going to have their voices silenced from fear. That is the reality. And by the way, the correspondence that I received talked about me being in charge of some groups, in particular men's groups. This is not just a men's issue. About half the people that have contacted me are women, are mothers. So this whole nonsense that this is just, we're just trying to get the men, no, it's wrong. It also affects women. I had one woman write to me and say that she did not know if she could attend because she no longer had an auto registration that was valid or a driver's license. I don't remember which one it was. One woman who cannot attend, who, because if she does, she'll be driving illegally. So we're going to try to get a ride for her to come to this event. There is another woman who spoke to me who stated that even though she is not behind her child support, her husband, who is the custodial parent, makes approximately $200,000 a year. Now, this lady makes about $40,000 a year. And guess what she has to pay? Child support. And guess with whom she lives? Her mother, because she cannot afford to live anywhere on her own because she has to pay child support from her $40,000 salary to her ex-husband, who makes approximately $200,000 a year. I could give you story after story of women that want to speak on this topic. This is not just a man's issue. This is a family issue, and it is a shame to some degree, in my opinion, that a safe harbor guarantee could not be offered. That we could not have some, we've given amnesty to illegals, but if you owe child support in the state of Texas, you have to be concerned that you might be arrested. And by the way, there are men as well who want to be there, and they are afraid to come because if they show up, they too will be arrested. So much for a full and frank and candid conversation with the Attorney General. That being said, in spite of the fact that the people that they need to hear from the most will have their voices silenced, we will still meet. I will be there. I know of at least a dozen other people that will be there. And again, a lot of these people will be women. As far as some of the other people that are saying, what do I do if I go? Am I going to be arrested? I don't know what to tell you. This is the response from the Attorney General's office through Andrew Leonie. Andrew Leonie works for the Attorney General. He's relaying things as honestly as he can. I know Andrew. Andrew's a good man. He's got his job to do. But it is unfortunate that once again, people will be silenced to keep the machinery of the child support system oiled smoothly so that Texas can brag about how we are the leading state in the country in collecting child support. Nobody even approaches our efficiency, all the meanwhile destroying families and not actually wanting to hear about the destruction that's being caused to families, and not just the immediate family, but the second families that are formed. It is a shame, in my opinion, that at the very least, this cannot be safe harbor, cannot be guaranteed, and that the DPS people cannot be said, you will not arrest these people without standing warrants. You will have nothing to do with them. It is a shame. We would give this to illegal immigrants. We will give this protection to illegal aliens, but we won't give it to our own citizens who are struggling to try to preserve an intact relationship with their children and who are being financially raped by the child support system and having their families destroyed and having nothing to do about it. Thank you.